Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm Wes.
And welcome to our 2022 highlight video.
If you haven't already checked out our review for 2021, make sure you check it out here, and we'd highly recommend doing that before you watch this year's.
In this video, we look back on our entire 2022, answer some questions that we set ourselves each year, and to just look back on everything that we've achieved, where we've been, and what we've enjoyed about 2022.
And at the end, we've got some fun stats and comments from the community, so make sure you stay right the way to the end to see those.
It is the end of 2022, our second year on the boat.
Woo. I am the big 3-0 now, 30.
And I'm 27. 1 whole year, 6 months and 15 days.
And that is 563 days, which is absolutely mind-blowing.
It feels like so long.
Main one, I think, would be check the fridge when you get the boat. It's not 12 volt.
They told you it was, but it's not. I can't believe how long we went without a fridge. Like 7 or 8 months. Like at this point, at the end of December 2021. We still didn't have a fridge.
Yeah, I don't know how we survived. Well done, pasta.
Yeah.
I think the main ones for me would be, don't worry about the rivers. They're absolutely fine in the summer. You can barely tell the difference from the canal. I'd go as far as to say they're actually quite nice.
I think for me it would be, don't be afraid to put yourself out there and just chat to people, like other boaters. At the start, if we saw another boater like coming out of their hatch, we'd be like, hi. Whereas now we were just like, oh, you're right, it's nice weather, isn't it, and stuff like that. And I think we've made so many friends just by doing that. Happy birthday to you. At the start we were so worried, we were panicking about every little noise that happened on the boat. We were really stressed about it, and it made it quite a lot more stressful than it needed to be. I think we have definitely stuck to that this year. Like we've been a lot more relaxed with just like knowing that boats have certain issues and that's okay. We definitely have stuck with the mentality of it'll be right. I think this year it's just got to be how to maintain and upkeep a boat in general. I think
looking back, it's crazy to think how much we've actually done ourselves on the boat. So we've done things like the engine service completely on our own, we blacked the boat ourselves, we've done the stove service, even though it had a few hiccups along the way, we did do it. We've just been way more hands-on.
It feels like such a natural routine now, and we just kind of know how to do them.
I think if you told me a year ago that I would feel this comfortable on it, I would be surprised.
We're complete newbies, we've only been on it 6 months. But then also, if someone doesn't know anything about boats, we could probably write like we were complete newbies still, compared to what we know now.
We're so proud of ourselves.
We did actually learn loads, but it was more like how to moor the boat, how to drive the boat.
The basics.
The basics, whereas this year it's definitely been more maintenance and upgrades.
I think this year, the distance that we can actually travel while working full-time and only really moving on the weekends, that's probably the biggest thing. Last year, we pretty much just used our training wheels to just kind of mill around on the Llangollen, whereas this year, we started here on the Erewash, we've gone all the way down through Leicester, on the River Soar, Grand Union, down through Oxford, on the Thames, Lechlade, and then made it pretty much all the way towards Bath in 1 year while only travelling on the weekends and working full time.
I think that's pretty impressive.
That's pretty good.
And I think for me, definitely the thing that surprised me the most is how much rivers vary and how less scary they are than we thought. Right at the start of this year, we did the Awawas. We did it when it was really fast flowing, and that was really scary, to be fair. If we did that now, we'd still be scared. But then we thought in our minds that all rivers were going to be like that. And actually, we went on the Thames and the River Soar, and they were just like big canals in the summer, and it was just really nice and chill on the rivers.
Yeah, it wasn't this torrent of waves and risk of sinking. I think the worst thing about it was just struggling to moor, which we weren't even thinking about because we were too busy worrying about whether we were just going to lose control of our house and sink it.
There's been so many to think of. So I think Langley Basin.
There was the flight path on the River Soar, that was amazing.
Abingdon, because we spent a lot of time there. Goring, because of just how beautiful that backdrop was.
But I think for me personally this year, my absolute favourite mooring was Port Meadows outside Oxford. It was just the most beautiful place to live in for a couple of weeks. We did our first ever wild swimming, the city itself was just incredible, and we had some wonderful friends visit as well.
I had such good vibes at that place, like people hang out there was people having barbecues, and then also to be so close to Oxford city centre. It was just really cool. For me though, I think one of my favourites is Lechlade, just because it felt like a little mini holiday when we were there. It was quite a long stretch to get there, but then when we did, it just felt like a different kind of mooring for a favourite, like almost like the opposite to Port Meadows, because it was just so relaxing.
It definitely had one of those effects like Llangollen last year, where it's quite a trek to get there, but when you get there, the satisfaction of actually making it just adds to how unique and special that place feels. Mine this year has got to be Vegan Camp Out 2022. That was just such a cool experience, even though it was a little bit tiring. Just having our boat moored as close as we could to a festival, and the fun of riding the bikes back and forth. Woo! All the amazing food, the amazing like acts and music. It was just such an amazing summer event. I absolutely loved it.
And I think for me, mine has to be Quick Boat Show, because it was just such a boatery festival. We had our boat there too, and we spent a lot of time hanging out with other boaters after the show and in the evenings, and we met loads of our lovely subscribers and other boaters. It was just really nice to be fully immersed in boating and the boating community for a weekend, and it just felt so special. But some special mentions to other places that we visited, like the trains at Loughborough, the spa for Wes's birthday.
That was so much fun. Market Harbour, just because it's just the most wonderful little quintessentially British town, and Banbury for all the unique stuff it had, like the bowling right next to the canal. That was absolutely awesome.
We were only supposed to be cruising for like an hour to look for an Elson, and we used a sat nav, like a navigation map app, and it marked an Elson point. That was so horrible. Look at my face.
To get to the bottom to realise
So
that it's not.
We're still smiling though.
I think for me it was the moving on process. That was just completely and utterly exhausting. And either you'd finish work and then you'd kind of have to go straight into packing and organising. It was emotionally tiring from having to get rid of stuff and downsize. It was just generally exhausting.
I still miss our car.
I don't know how we still did it while working full time as well. Like, we were both working full time while we were downsizing, and then even right up until like the last week, you only had 1 week of holiday.
Amy was frantically trying to get rid of the rest of our stuff. She had just loads of stuff lined out on the road, and just had like a big sign saying "Free to a good home." And I'd be sat on the floor upstairs with my laptop on, just like on a box, and I'd just be hunched over it for like 7 hours working, and then I'd literally have to finish work and then go down and just help.
And then drive for 2 hours on some occasions to drop stuff off.
I don't know how we did that. I don't think anything we did this year was as tough as that.
No. And on that note, what was your toughest moment this year?
It's gotta be blacking the boat, particularly in the rain. That was just the most physically exhausting long weekend. It was just so tiring physically, like just painting the emotional frustration of having to deal with it raining all of the time.
In July as well.
And then we'd constantly have to like assess the weather, then go out and dry it, and then frantically try and get it on, and then stress as to whether it was sticking or not. It was, that was just so difficult.
I don't think I can pick one. There's been quite a lot of tough moments.
It's been a hard year.
The Trent right at the start of the year, and the Erewass rivers, because there was on amber boards, they were really fast flowing in the winter. There was loads of fog, and that one red light that threw us off.
don't really know what to do now.
I think the heat wave was really difficult to get through, because it was the time where we would do like survival methods almost, like putting the film on the windows and just basically just constantly keeping the pets alive, like especially Dupes because he's so furry. That was really tough because again it was out of our control. But then also there was the getting stuck under the tree, because that was scary, but I think it mostly was just tough because again it was out of our control. It was the wind. Wes was literally fighting with a tree on the roof, and I was in control of the driving, which I can drive. I'm quite a confident driver, but sometimes my brain goes fuzzy when I have to try and panic drive.
I was basically bent, folded in half backwards the wrong way while desperately trying to stop all the branches from like puncturing our crotch and windows.
And I was just shouting, which way do I turn the tiller?
And a special mention goes out to the oil filter when we did that engine service. That was just the worst experience.
That was just physically tough.
I hated that.
The moment where we nearly lost the boat down a weir.
I remember that. That seems
was
like
terrifying.
nothing.
And drifting towards a big weir next to a lock.
A big weir!
And we were both very
like this
panicked.
big.
We only had a sort of time lapse going to capture the movement.
It's just like
terrifying.
It's just a bywash.
It was really scary though. I remember like just turning around and just seeing the boat and no one on it and being like, that doesn't seem right.
Our scariest moments feel bigger this year because we've experienced a lot more. So the scariest one was having rocks thrown at us 2 times on 2 different occasions.
The first time was the worst because it was when we turned the corner and we literally saw about 20
youths.
About 20 youths all lined up looking like they were ready to cause a ruckus. And we were correct, as they did hurl a few stones at us.
Louis. Seriously, don't jump!
The scary thing about it was just that as soon as you turn the corner, there was a lock and there's nowhere that you can go. Like if they wanted to come a little bit further down the towpath, we would have been stranded. They could have done whatever to our house. We were just stuck.
Leicester, when at the time we didn't know whether it was someone throwing rocks. We still haven't had it confirmed, but it definitely seemed that way because we heard people talking and smashing glass and stuff. So that was quite scary, just not knowing what was hitting the boat and having to call the police and get them to kind of just come and do a check on us.
It is a bit scary.
That was quite scary. Suddenly Wes had to book like a last minute day off work just because we didn't feel safe.
I think we did 24 wide locks and about 11 hours of cruising.
That's how much it scared us.
I think the other major scary point for us was, of course, crashing head on into the wall, trying to get onto the Erewash Canal.
Want me to do anything?
I think that's probably the worst time where we have felt completely out of control of the boat, and just hearing that like horn alarm thing going off and also being a bit scared of the rivers and being told about how difficult this turn was, it all just added up to be a little bit too much. And then bang.
The barbecue with our friends, trying to light the barbecue and just not having a clue.
We used coal. Look
at the kitchen.
There have been so many funny moments this year, but I think my funniest moment for 2022 has to be Condor 3000.
Yeah, Condor.
He turned out to be an absolute fan favourite from all of you, our wonderful viewers, and we absolutely loved him too. It was so funny, just like trying to figure out how to use him, like just getting comfortable with sitting in what felt like a little paddling pool.
Being in a little paddling pool with like actual boats going past us on a river, and Wes like spinning around in circles and stuff.
It was great fun. So many laughs.
I think one of my favourite, funniest moments was when we were at Foxton and we was trying to get the cassettes. We had 2 really full cassettes and we were moored at the top of Foxton Locks, and Foxton is super busy with gongoozlers that kind of like hang out and watch, and we had to wheel our full cassettes down the hill.
On a busy day.
We was trying to do it subtly. They ended up falling over sideways And oh my god, that was really funny.
Slow and steady. Oh no, quick. I'm so relieved that they didn't spill. Yeah, because if one of them had cracked open, I genuinely don't know what we would.
That would have been on one of the toughest moments if it had.
So the hatch is definitely up there still on my list, but it might have dropped down a place partly because it's getting a bit knackered.
It's broke.
It's frustrating. But I do still love it as a feature of the boat. But I think my favourite this year has got to be the roof, which feels a bit weird, but just having the picnics up there, being able to sunbathe in the summer, and then just how useful it is as a coal storage in winter. We've got tons of stuff in our solar panel box as well, just all the bits and bobs that we don't really need inside the boat, so it's just a really useful space. It's definitely an underestimated part of the boat.
And I think for me, it has to be, it's a close second because I love the desk as well, actually. It's nice to have a proper desk on the boat to still be able to play games, where's to work and to edit and stuff like that. But I think my favourite is actually the stove and like the little corner where the stove is, because we've got like things on the wall now, we've got plants there, the stove is super cozy in the winter, and yeah, I love that little corner, like looking from the sofa that way. People are just like, yeah, all right, yeah, but like now it's like, no, I've actually done it, I'm here, I'm doing it kind of thing. We're still doing it. For me.
To just overcome that and just go for it, I think is a really big deal, and I think, yeah, I'm really proud of us for just actually doing it.
I feel so normal now.
Aww, that's really nice.
That is really cute.
We did it. We do still get this moments where it's like, just take a look around, like this is our house, this is cool, like we definitely get those moments.
It doesn't feel quite as novel. I think also because we have mingled with a lot more people who do it as well, we're surrounded by more people who have done the same thing, so it doesn't feel quite as, not special, but like unusual. I think what I'm most proud of this year though, for me personally, is just integrating much more with other boaters, because I think in our first sort of 6 months we were quite isolated. We were sort of too shy to talk to anyone. Obviously I've got a lot of issues with anxiety around that, and we've made some really strong friendships that are probably lifelong friendships off the experiences that we've had, whether it's watching Eurovision at night on a random towpath with some people that we've only met a few times who are now really good friends with, to spending a lot of the summer just kind of like hopping boats, seeing each other, like hanging out in pubs, all those sorts of things. Yeah, I'm pretty proud that we've done that this year.
I don't want to sound big-headed. I think for me it's how skilled we are at driving the boat now, and like how good we are at it. Like I think I'm pretty good at driving now. I've been doing loads more this year and I feel way more confident, like manoeuvring, and every so often I'll pull off a move and I'm like, well, that was a good move, wasn't it? But we all know Wes is a really good driver and he pulls off loads of good moves. I feel we're really skilled at the locks. I think I'm quite proud that our driving skills have definitely improved, and yeah, I think we're quite good drivers. A side note, because this is more of our YouTube journey, we haven't missed a single upload for an entire year. We now upload 2 videos a week and we've been keeping that pretty consistent. Special shout out to Wes, who edits all of the videos alongside working full-time.
Thank you for all the lovely comments about the editing as well. It is something that I really enjoy, but obviously it does take a lot of time, so it's really nice when we can sort of see our own growth with how we make our videos.
So yeah, I'm really proud of Wes for his editing.
I'm really excited to see the next one, because we genuinely haven't watched this video since last year, and the next one is what did we want to achieve this year?
Let's have a look.
It's got to be to overcome rivers for me. There's something that we haven't really encountered, and they just look terrifying. The fact that they can be tidal, that they've got a current, that they're wider. So if we could get through next year, have a bit more experience on the rivers, particularly in summer, I think that would be a big accomplishment.
The next thing to learn is rivers, I think. Aw, yay! We
smashed
did
it! Yes!
We actually spent loads of 2022 on rivers. We came straight off the error wash early on, straight onto the saw for ages, and then it was only the Grand Union section.
And then a bit of the South Oxford.
Yeah.
And then we're on to the Thames.
And then on to the Thames, straight on. Yeah, we've actually spent most of 2022 on rivers, so. And I have to say, we're pretty confident on them now.
But I think past us a year ago would be really proud of us.
For sure, yeah. So for 2023, what we want to achieve is go on a section of tidal river. Oh, and kind of navigate that with all of the, you have to talk to the lock keepers, the walkie-talkies,
an anchor.
The anchor.
I think the thing that I'd really like to achieve next year, which is kind of similar, is to tackle central London. We're still not sure on our plans for 2023 exactly, but while we're down south, it makes sense to try and do some of that. And it just looks really, really scary. It looks very full on. It sounds like the rules are a little bit different and the etiquette's a bit different. If we could nail that and then maybe run away up north,
yeah,
I'd see that as a big win.
Yeah, that would be a big achievement, to say that we've basically done the whole of the South network as well. So to tick that off would be cool.
Yeah.
It's probably just to slow down. Safe to say we failed at that one.
I think we made a couple of conscious efforts to try and do that, but then there was just a couple of things that would just pop up and it just meant that we couldn't. So like, whether it was getting to Crick on time, or when we had our friends visit and we ended up kind of tearing down the Oxford Canal to do that trip in time, getting onto the K&A in time, and then getting through the closure in time. It always felt like something popped up that made us rush, but I do think that we were a lot better at just relaxing a little bit every time we stopped.
We stayed in Abingdon for a while and we really felt like we soaked up that. Oxford, we stayed there for like quite a few weeks.
I think our mindset has gotten a little bit better with that though, so even though we do rush, it feels more intentional. So we're not just rushing because we feel we should be cruising, we're rushing because we want to do a cool thing. So one of the pieces of advice that we would definitely give ourselves for next year would be to try and plan ahead a little bit more for the bigger things, whether that's an engine service, getting things like the oil wrench thing,
or things like booking the blacking in. Luckily we found it, but we did get a last minute slot, so we probably should have had that booked in way in advance.
Checking on the closures a bit more regularly, just anything that's going to have either a big impact to our journey or is going to leave us in a bit of a fix if we can't get it sorted closer to the time that it needs to happen.
We're never going to be the type of boater that plans each move week by week and know exactly where we're going to be on a certain date. We do like being spontaneous, but sometimes it might be nice to be a little bit more prepared for what's to come.
And it might also help us to slow down a bit too. So just before we show you the community's highlights, we thought we'd just give you a little message to sign off for the end of the year.
Thank you all so much for being here, whether you've been here since 2021 or you joined us this year. We appreciate each and every one of you.
So thank you so much for liking, subscribing, commenting, or even just watching. We really appreciate all of them, and of course the wonderful people who have bought us a bag of chips over the year.
Our little boating journey wouldn't be half as special without you lot, so thank you from all four of us, and we'll hopefully see you in 2023.
I don't want to live on a boat.
It's our fault.
Here's boat time.